Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council in regular session. It is Monday, June 18th, 2018, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Ryan? Here. Councilor Freeman?
Here.
Councilor Reed?
Here.
Mayor Clark?
Here.
Council President Parsons?
Here.
Councilor Herrera?
He is excused.
And Councilor Anderson.
Here.
Thank you very much. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful, sunny, almost summer evening. A few more days till summer. I think about 3. All right, we have nothing under special orders of business tonight, and I don't believe that we have, let me check here. All right. Like to offer the opportunity for Colleen Bush to come up at this time to talk to us about Chariot celebrating the 5-year anniversary of the Keizer Transit Center.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Colleen Bush, resident of Keizer, board member of the Salem Keizer Transit District Chariots. I would like to invite you, although I know it's a bit late, to the Keizer Chamber greeters tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the Keizer Transit Center. Chariots is hosting. We're celebrating 5 years of operation of that beautiful award-winning transit facility. So you're all welcome to come between 8:30 and 9:30 in the morning. Take the bus, because there's not enough parking for everybody. So,
Well, thank you very much. And I remember when we cut the ribbon on that place, it was amazing in a lot of ways, not only just in the facility itself, but also in the design, and a very high standard for sustainability.
yeah, solar powered, and the heating system is a water
Geothermal?
yes, that's a word. So, and also in regards to the signalization intersection there, that's been put on delay due to some bid processing snafus. So just let you know, but it is still going to happen.
Okay. Well, thank you for that update. Appreciate it. Are there any other questions for Director Bush while she is here? All right. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
great.
We
Thank you.
appreciate you being here. And with that, I'd like to go into public testimony. This time is provided for the citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for a public hearing. We have no public hearings scheduled tonight. So I would like to start off with a group from West Keizer Neighborhood Association regarding an ongoing issue that we've had regarding gunfire from the rock quarry, I think it's called Northwest Quarry, something like that, over in Polk County. So I would invite Carol Dorfler and Rhonda Rich to come on up. You both have signed up to speak. But would it be all right with you if we got an update on this prior to you speaking, so you can kind of know where we're at? Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Or would you like to speak first, and then we can answer any questions?
I can speak first.
Okay, why don't you go ahead? Come on down. I didn't want to stop, but there's been stuff going on.
Good evening. My name is Rhonda Rich. I'm live in West Keizer on Rafael Avenue. I'm here tonight because I'm afraid for myself, for residents on Rafael, Rivercrest, Shoreline, and Willamette Drive. And also for the people who live in the park, or who go to the parks, Sunset Park, Keizer Rapids Park, and also people who recreate on the river. And I'm also angry that we have to be back in front of you because of another shooting. And as you're aware, that was just about 5 houses down from me. It was almost, the woman almost got killed. I mean, the bullet came through the back of her house, through the backsplash, and landed 2 feet away from her. So this is really discouraging that we have to live with this situation in our backyards. And it continues. I mean, last September, we put up a sign. We The landowner, Lance Davis, I understand, was cooperative. He didn't know the people who came on his property. Well, in this case, we know that it was a couple of his sons who were involved in this. We don't know who shot the bullet. But I've talked to many of the neighbors on the street, and we want this to stop. We know, okay, he's got the right to shoot over there. We have the right to live in our backyards and not be in fear. And so you as our elected officials, you have the networking, maybe know who to talk to. I'm sure there's been a lot of discussion up till now. So we want to know what has been done and what is going to be done to stop this. I don't think it's a Second Amendment right issue. I think it's a public safety issue that we cannot feel comfortable in our own backyards or people in the parks. Heaven forbid somebody should be kayaking or canoeing, launched from the park and get shot. And it was so close. I mean, it just, when I heard it, I mean, it still, rings pretty strong that, in these last couple years, the shooting has gone on, and I avoid going in my backyard because I'm afraid of a stray bullet or, we don't know what direction these people are shooting in. And it's a matter of responsible gun usage over there, which doesn't seem to be occurring, which continues on. The property owner, I know, is liable. So there will be discussion with, I know, the people who were affected, but we don't want this to happen again and have it be not a near miss, but killing someone. So yes, I would like a response from you as a body who's probably been in contact with Polk County Commissioners, Marion County Commissioners. We did copy them on the letter back in September. When we came and testified to you, we did hear back from Marion County, just their public information officer came to one of our meetings and said if there's anything, we could do. Of course, at that time, we thought, okay, well, we did do something. We were glad that something was done, but the sign doesn't seem to be effective, and especially if it's, I know he owns the property all along the bend there. So that we don't want more signs up. We want some action taken to stop the shooting. And whatever it takes. I mean, I could have had 50, 100 people here tonight, and we talked about signing petitions. But really, I mean, if we have to do that, if you feel that's the route we need to do, we'll do that. But we need to stop this. So, thank you.
So I'm going to start, and then I've got a couple of things to share, and then I'm going to ask city manager and our police chief to share what they know as well. First of all, you're absolutely right. This is beyond ridiculous. A responsible property owner makes sure that they know what's going on their property, especially when you're dealing with something that has the potential of doing harm or creating danger. Responsible gun range owners do what is necessary to make sure that the people who are using that facility for that purpose are doing so in a manner that is safe not only for the people participating but for anybody else. And there are a lot of really responsible people. This is not rocket science. It can be done because it has been done. So this is a particular facility that has not chosen to take the steps up until now to do so. I was immediately in contact with Commissioner Craig Pope, and a couple days later, Commissioner Mike Ainsworth got an earful from me as well. I will continue to put pressure on them, but they've got to hear from the citizens as well. We are not their constituents, and they're very aware of that. However, they are regional partners, and it is their responsibility to take whatever action they can to ensure the safety of their neighbors. And I have brought this to their attention more than once. I did receive an email, and if I'm trying to get back to it, it was forwarded to me from Sheriff Garton that was sent to Commissioner Carlson, and as soon as I bring that one up in my feed, I will read that in as well, talking about their contact with the property owner and what they're going to do. Do you want me to share this, or do you want to share the letter from Shannon?
Go ahead.
So we also, our city attorney also sent a letter to the property owner, reminding them about their responsibilities, and it reads as follows. Dear Mr. Davis, this office represents the city of Keizer. I am writing to express the city's concern regarding the use of West Salem Quarry property as a shooting range. Last year, shots were fired from the quarry with rounds striking a residential neighborhood in the city of Keizer. Fortunately, no one was injured and there appeared to be no property damage. The police were unable to determine who had fired the shots, and so no arrests were made. After this incident, Lieutenant Andrew Copeland, Keizer Police Department, met with you twice and talked to you by phone. He expressed the city's concern regarding the use of the quarry property and he developed a plan by which informational signage would be placed, and you would allow only close friends, family, or police officers on the premises to use the property as a shooting range. The city appreciates your efforts in this regard. However, on June 2nd, 2018, another incident occurred. Individuals using the quarry property as a shooting range discharged high-powered weapons, and bullets again flew into the residential property in Keizer. At least one round hit a house and landed near a person inside. The situation is unacceptable and dangerous. I cannot advise you legally. However, I would have to believe that you and your company have some liability in this regard. The city urges you to take all action necessary to immediately stop the use of your property as a shooting range. My concern that any general preventative measures will not eliminate the risk that rounds fall into Keizer as long as the property is used as a range. The lives of innocent people are at stake. We urge you to take the proper course of action and completely stop this dangerous use of your property immediately. Please contact me if you have any questions in this regard. Thank you. So this letter went over to the owner on June 13th. Also, the commissioners, Marion County commissioners have been in contact both through their offices and their legal offices with Polk County. In this regard, they are deeply concerned and do not find it acceptable that we have a use of this property in a way that is putting lives at risk. So we absolutely agree with you. And I will find this email and I will forward it from Sheriff Garten, the actions he has taken as well. We do understand that arrests were made and that will proceed along those lines, and that the homeowner in this situation also has legal recourse. And if there's any information that they need from our records, they will be more than available to them. City Manager, or who would like to follow up?
Yeah, I don't actually have anything to add to that. I was going to talk about Shannon's letter. So, I agree. It's completely unacceptable. The frustrating part is that the action is occurring in a different jurisdiction, so it's hard for us to engage legally in those regards. But I definitely encourage the homeowner. I think that is truly this community's best opportunity to put this to an end, is for civil action to occur, shutting down that usage. Anyway, Chief, did you have anything else to add? Anyway, we are concerned. The mayor is taking a lot of, she's expending a lot of her own political capital to get things done. The Office of the City Attorney is taking action, and we're watching as best we can from our side. So.
So you would recommend that we continue contacting Marion County and Polk County
Absolutely.
commissioners?
Absolutely.
Okay.
As will we.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as far as going up through the ranks, go ahead and state representatives.
Yes.
We really don't want something to be put off. As the letter said, it has to stop now. And you can decide what needs to be done. I know land use issues take forever to change. That's not something that we're willing to sit by and wait for that to happen. That he can be stopped.
Yeah,
Could be stopped before. And I know that there's. I'd say, well, okay, we do want him to know who's on his property and have responsible gun users over there, but that doesn't seem to be happening. So we don't have much faith in anything that he is putting forth at this time.
Unfortunately, from our standpoint, there's very little legal recourse that the city has. It would be, we don't have the ability to sort of jump into the middle of this from a legal standpoint. So therefore, lacking that, your course of action coupled with our course of action, continuing to escalate this up the ranks to create enough pressure on that property owner to put an end to that use is really the best course of action we have.
Right, because I think that property actually goes from Keizer Rapids all the way up almost to the city limits. I mean, he does own all the property on the other side there, so. Yeah.
Chief, you look like you have something in mind.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I wish I had leverage, but the police department is a law enforcement agency, and we enforce the laws, and regrettably, there's no leverage for us here. I've said it before, it's been reiterated twice tonight, that the leverage that unfortunately is available is civil, and that's between the homeowner and the landowner. And perhaps West Keizer Neighborhood Association come behind the homeowner and cause something to happen. That's the quickest and best solution. Unfortunately, it had to come to that. But as far as criminal laws on the books, I've explained a couple of times that we simply don't have them. Neither does Polk County Sheriff's Office.
What is the difference between reckless endangerment and attempted murder? Because to me, you know, a couple more feet, and actually if they didn't have that stone backsplash, she probably would have gotten hit. Because I went over and talked to her and saw where she stood, and it was very scary.
Okay.
Yeah, I think your question may be rhetorical, but it's a question of intent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if
Okay.
I may, also the property owner, the homeowner has contacted me, and I have had conversations with them. I did find the email from Sheriff Garten, which I will share with you. This was addressed to Commissioner Pope, who shared it with me and with Commissioner Carlson and Representative Bill Post. So we've all been informed and are watching this, this issue and also applying political pressure on getting this resolved. Because all of us, I'll speak for myself, there are people, members of my family, who are very responsible gun owners and users, and they find this absolutely abhorrent that anybody would be this irresponsible with a very powerful object of any kind. The email is dated June 12th, and Tracy, I will forward it to you so you have it for the record. I just wanted to let you know that I have spoken with Lance Davis, the owner of the rock quarry in West Salem where the errant round went into a house in Keizer. I have asked him what his plans were to improve safety, and he told me about the plans. Lance has since put up signage in the shooting area for the time being, indicating that shooting needs to be in east-west direction and not north-south direction. He said he would be relocating shooting area and signage as soon as they create more berms and fencing to make it all safer in a different direction. He said they are going to install gates on the property to allow better control of who comes and who goes, as they have had random people drive down there and start shooting. He said he wants to limit who comes and goes, which isn't a bad idea. He is being proactive about making sure this type of thing doesn't happen again. But this incident, the folks who were shooting did so in a place they weren't supposed to shoot. Shooting can happen safely over there. They just need to do it in the right place. I intend to follow up with Lance in the next few days out of the quarry to see how things are progressing. And that is from Sheriff Garten.
And
My-
he's the sheriff of Polk County.
That is correct.
Okay.
So he will be reporting back as well. The owner of the property, Mr. Davis, is, the pressure's on, and we need to keep it on, that this, he cannot stop until he does the right thing. And I would agree with you, he has not demonstrated his ability to manage this property responsibly. There are people who do it right, and they don't have this problem. So.
Okay.
And anybody have anything else that they would like to add to this conversation at this point? We will, anything I get, I will share out. I appreciate
Okay.
you, and please stay vigilant and help the homeowner in any way possible. We need to keep the pressure on there as well as they move forward with what they need to do. And I believe they are highly motivated to follow through, as they well should. So I appreciate that.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Carol, did you want to speak? Yes, come on down.
Sure, I will.
Hold on a minute.
That thing's getting away from me.
Has a mind of its own.
Hi, Carol Dorfler. I live in Keizer. I'm president of the West Keizer Neighborhood Association. I am going to read this letter that went to the Keizer Times. It's for the benefit of the West Keizer neighbors who do not subscribe to the Keizer Times, which they really need to do, just to let them know. And people that do, actually, they do watch city council meetings on TV. I never did before until a few years ago, and I'm like, holy cow, yeah, this is a good thing. So this is for their benefit. You all have seen it. You all know what it says. Bullets continue to fly across the Willamette River, this time on June 2nd, into a home on the river and barely missing the resident. This after an incident last September 10th when a hail of bullets sent parkgoers running for their lives from Sunset Park, and just recently I learned of another occurrence about 2 years prior in the same neighborhood. After the Sunset Park incident, the West Keizer Neighborhood Association took our concerns to the city. The West Keizer Neighborhood Board and numerous neighbors appeared before the mayor, city council, and city staff several times asking that something be done. Letters were written to the mayor, councilors, and staff, including Keizer Police Department and the Marion and Polk County Commissioners, alerting them to this public safety issue. We learned that the bullets were coming from a shooting range in a rock quarry across the river. A sign was posted at the quarry alerting shooters that there were residential homes across the river. Obviously, this was not enough. I am asking our city officials, including the police department, to do something. Isn't that your job? And to protect your citizens? This is a serious public health issue. 3 incidents in 4 years. Do not shrug your shoulders and claim it is out of our jurisdiction. We deserve better. Thank you. Now, I thank you for the efforts that have been made that we heard of earlier, and that we have responses back from the sheriff. But we're not going to let up. I mean, this is beyond ridiculous. Beyond ridiculous. So thank you for your time.
We appreciate your work, and we appreciate everybody coming around and supporting our neighbor. I mean, first and foremost, the people who have been affected, which is everybody in that area, needs to come together, but also let's keep the pressure up, because they've got to know that this will have to stop, and support this homeowner in taking whatever action is necessary. But you have my word that I will stay on it as well, and I believe we all will.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay. Anything else on this topic before we switch topics? All right, then we will switch topics to the grass hut. And Sherry Gottfried is here, and she's given us a handout. Tracy, you have a copy for the record? Okay. I need this. Keep this.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sherry Gottfried. I live and work in Keizer, Oregon. You all have a copy of my handout this evening. It's in regards to the 2018 Keizer Iris Festival. We began our preparation with the Iris Festival by handing out flyers as suggested by the council from May 8th through May 19th. In addition, we posted a flyer outside our front door. Sales associates also submitted flyers to those shoppers who were not making any purchases. A sandwich board was also placed each day and removed each night at the end of Cherry at the Alder intersection, stating that the grass hut was opened. The weekend of the event, Wednesday through Sunday, the weekend prior, we received 41 new customers. The weekend of the Iris Festival, we only received 18. The weekend following, we received 37. The Iris Festival is a family-friendly event, and unfortunately, we're not a family-friendly location, and so we did not see a lot of customers, and that was really devastating. Through the event days, we also received numerous phone calls each day asking if we were open because they assumed by the barricades that we were not. Our sales are as follows. The third weekend in April, that same weekend as in May, we received $21,326 in sales. The weekend prior to the Iris Festival, the same dates, $16,096. Iris Festival weekend, our sales were only $9,979. As you can see, it was very detrimental to our business. At the Keizer Fest meeting that we attended in March, we were informed the street was closed at that intersection for the following reasons: safety and handicap parking. There was numerous issues with cars. Alder is here, Cherry Avenue is here. This happened to me every day. I can detest to it. I came within inches of hitting people because everybody on Alder stopping to turn onto Cherry Avenue assumed everybody on Cherry Avenue was turning right, not going forward, and they would literally pull right out in front of you. Every day that happened to me. When I left the building one day, I was in my son's car, who had a small car. We were almost T-boned at that same intersection. Because of the barricade, nobody could see us. Literally almost plowed right into the side. I do know that there was one known accident at that location, and besides myself, my coworker had numerous misses, the owners both had numerous misses, and so did our customers. It is a safety issue having that barricade at that intersection. In addition, there was not one handicap sign anywhere for parking. Does this comply with the American Act of Disabilities? I'm really curious about that. We were told by the chamber that that was going to be used for handicap parking. As you can see in the pictures that were taken, there is not one handicap parking spot there anywhere at the entire festival. I do think that is an issue. There was an ODOT sign placed, and I did call and talk to is it Lieutenant Winning? Sergeant, thank you. I apologize, sir, I do. Because on Tuesday, or maybe it was Wednesday, there was a sign placed at Manbrin and River Road, big ODOT saying Cherry Avenue is closed. We all know how many people going up and down River Road every day. It's closed according to that sign. It's not open for business. It's closed. That was detrimental to our business. Due to the road closures, in addition, 24 hours were lost to staff having to be sent home early due to lack of business. Estimated revenue lost to the city, because we do collect a 3% tax on every purchase made, was approximately $244. That's estimated. Estimated taxes lost for the state was $1,384. As you can see, the Grass Hut lost approximately $8,100 that weekend. Once again, $243 for the cities, $13 for the state, 24 hours that were employees sent home. In closing, people are going to shop. It is legal now. Marijuana is legal. Infused products are legal. People are going to shop. As a city, it would seem that you would want your people to stay and shop in Keizer, because that's just more money coming into the city pocket in taxes that we collect. It's no different than when I worked at the hotel and I collected tot taxes. We wanted it to stay here, not go elsewhere. I am hoping that in future events, the Grass Hut can come to a mutual agreement to ensure that we can have business as usual during the Iris Festival. I would like to thank you for your time, and so would the Cutters. Unfortunately, they could not be here tonight. Do you have any questions for me?
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate you bringing the information. Our representative for Iris Festival off of council, I believe, is Councilor Herrera. So we will make sure he has this information going forward, if he has that role last year or next year, or whichever counselor has that role as part of the conversation. And then, is there anything, we need to make sure that it was Officer Wenning who did the planning this year? Is that correct? Contributes to the safety advising for that. So the ultimate approval for the layout for safety comes from?
I don't know the answer to that question. We have input. I don't know who signs off on a safety plan.
Because it has to be on the permit. Is that correct, how the layout is going to be? And that's all on the permit, correct? So there's a question now about ADA parking. I don't know if that was on the permit. I just don't have it, so it sounds like a good question there. And then also questions for next year for looking at the layout.
We'll make sure we follow up on that.
Okay.
Placement of the barricade, signage, which part of the road is closed is part of the city's involvement generally. The ADA part may be more on the chamber, frankly, than on the city, but we'll check that too.
That would be helpful. Appreciate that. Any further questions? Councilor Ryan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I see this a little differently. So and I appreciate you bringing this to our attention, and I know we've discussed it before, but as a business owner, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, he makes over $1 million a year on that location. So, good for him. Okay, kudos.
Great for the
I
city
have
of
no
Keizer
problem with
and the
that.
state of Oregon.
So it looks like we have a loss of revenue of 8,000. I would see that as an opportunity for marketing to people coming to Keizer who have never been on Cherry Avenue. And I would think it would be a write-off for marketing of $8,000 as a smart businessman who makes over $1 million a year. I mean, we're talking $8,000 in comparative. I know that I understand, because I've heard, of course, both times you've been here what the concerns were, but I think you have an opportunity to reach a lot of people who maybe aren't stopping at the other locations. They're seeing your business right there as they're walking and parking, and I see it as an opportunity for a marketing write-off of $8,000. So
What your numbers, that could be so true, but those numbers are only due to the fact that as of March, when I started working there, not that I'm the greatest person, but I'm really good at marketing.
Yes,
And so
absolutely.
his sales have increased immensely since I've been there. So up until March 4th or 5th when I started there, no, those numbers weren't anywhere near. They might be now. In future, he might be doing great. But right now, we were not planning for this. This was devastating. The employees that we sent home, this was my paycheck that I lost hours on, you guys. You don't seem to get that. 24 hours is a lot in 1 week. That's over half of a paycheck. Think about it. It sucked.
So I'm
My
only
other
using-
employee, who also makes minimum wage,
Sure.
lost 24 hours.
Well, my point is, I'm using the numbers you gave me. So,
And that's
I'm not,
fine.
of course, creating numbers. But what I'm thinking is, then maybe that could be a marketing expense, that loss of revenue, including employee revenue, of spending it in marketing, and he could reimburse you. That's all between you as a business. I'm just saying, with these numbers, it's really hard to. And I know that. I mean, this I know it wasn't necessarily planned, but this isn't. We have it every year on Cherry Avenue. It's not a new thing. And I know you've worked with the chamber, so you had the opportunity in advance to do marketing and signage and things like that to capitalize on it.
Councilor,
Until-
I'm
Go
going
ahead,
to
I'm sorry.
intervene here at this point, because how a business chooses to do their business model is up to that business.
Yep.
So what I would like us to focus in on then is how we as a city have policies and practices that will allow for whatever business is in a location proximate to an event to be able to conduct business as uninterrupted as possible. So what I would like to do is maybe focus in on the layout, the opportunities for signage, but also ADA accessibility and other issues that were raised that fall in our jurisdiction. And then if there's additional opportunity for conversation with the organizer of the event, I would encourage that as well.
And I don't think we should speak on behalf of the event because, of course, it's not our event. But I did see ADA parking.
You
and
do sponsor, the city does sponsor this part of this event. Yes, they do. So it does reflect back on you guys.
Understood, but I meant we're not the
we'll get
final
the
planning
layout.
is what I'm saying is that it's a chamber thing, so.
It is a chamber, so we will get the layout to ensure that ADA compliance is a top priority for us as a city.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for, yes, Councilor Freeman.
Not really a question, but a comment. So I know you're here tonight, but have you shared this with the chamber as well?
Not yet.
Okay.
I just finished putting it together. I have shared it with the Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association. I am now on the board. So, yeah.
But you will be sharing it with
Oh,
the chamber?
most definitely.
Okay.
We
Okay.
will be invoicing them also.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, I encourage that for sure. The best, more communication, the better. We keep making better every year.
Thank you, and I appreciate your guys' time. I'm not here to complain. It's just, it was a last-minute thing. I just started on the 4th. I am not used to working in the Cherry Avenue neighborhood. That is why it just happened then. Had I have realized it when I started, yes, I would have been proactive. You know that as well as I do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate your time, you guys.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, that's everybody I had signed up for public testimony. Is there anybody else who would like to address the council this evening? All right, then we have no public hearings tonight. We will move on then into administrative action. And the first is a resolution establishing the amount of the sewer system development charge for wastewater treatment facilities, repealing Resolution R 2017-2791. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. City Attorney.
Thank you, Chris, Madam Mayor and Council. This matters before the council based on our agreement with the City of Salem, Intergovernmental Agreement, or IGA, in which we pass through the System Development Charge, or SDC, for the transmission sewer portion of the sewer SDCs. For those that might not know, in Keizer at least, there's two sewer SDCs. One is the transmission, excuse me, got these reversed. Salem has the wastewater treatment. They have the plant. So there's an SDC for the plant to maintain the plant and expand the plant as necessary. There's a separate, and that's a pass-through one that we collect and pass on to Salem. There's a separate one, which is the transmission lines, which is Keizer's to maintain the sanitary sewer lines. This is, before you tonight, is just the Salem portion of the wastewater treatment facilities. According to the IGA, we agree to adopt their charges, and so they have new charges listed, which are attached to, actually embedded in the resolution on the top of the second page of the resolution. So we're required under state law to not have necessarily a public hearing, but allow public comment. So the mayor, before you move to any motion, should make certain that there's no one that wants to make any public comment, and if there's no further questions, then to pass the resolution. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report? All right, is there anybody in the audience who would like to address this issue? Seeing none, Council President Parsons.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2018 establishing the amount of the sewer system development charge for wastewater treatment facilities, repealing Resolution R 2017-2791.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2018, establishing the amount of the sewer system development charge for wastewater treatment facilities, repealing Resolution R 2017-2791. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously with one absent. That takes us to item 8B, a resolution authorization for supplemental budget transfer of appropriations within the Administrative Services Fund from General Administration to Finance Utility Billing. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That sounds a lot like a Tim issue. So
It does.
It does. It just rings Tim. So Mr. Wood, if you would.
Can I pass it on to someone else?
That's
Madam
right.
Mayor, City Council, the city is self-insured for unemployment claims. As such, the city has benefited by only paying when we actually incur claims. We did receive a claim during 2017-18 related to a former utility billing employee. Unfortunately, we don't have enough appropriations in the utility billing area, so I'm requesting a transfer of appropriations of $6,500 from the non-departmental contingency, which primarily covers insurance-related type of issues, to the utility billing area. So with that, my recommendation is to approve or to adopt the attached resolution. Any questions?
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report? All right, is this one of those I should ask for public input as well?
No.
Okay, just checking. All right, although I would welcome it, of course. All right, Council President Parsons.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2018, authorization for supplemental budget transfer of appropriations within the Administrative Services Fund from General Administration to Finance Utility Billing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt, there we go, Resolution R 2018, authorization for supplemental budget transfer of appropriations within the Administrative Services Fund from General Administration to Finance Utility Billing. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously with one absent. Let's move on then to item 8C, a resolution authorizing the city manager and chief of police to sign the 2018-2021 collective bargaining agreement with Keizer Police Association. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. City Attorney.
Thank you, Chris. Madam Mayor and Council, the city has finished successful negotiations between city management and the Keizer Police Association for a new collective bargaining agreement, or CPA. It's a 3-year agreement that the current agreement is set to expire at the end of this month. So the resolution has that attached, and I'd like to thank Michelle's office as well as our labor attorney and police staff for getting us through that process. There is a couple extremely minor changes, but since we had them prior to actual adoption, I'll mention them. You do not need to write these down. Since it's a resolution and these are Scrivener ones, you can just say as amended. On page 48, section 14.6, there was a version that talks about the amount of months for benefit changes, and it's inconsistent. It says 18 months, but the number is 10. It should be 18 in both places. And then on page 37, the OSPR is misspelled, and that needs to be corrected. So with that, the recommendation is to adopt the attached resolution with just the notation as amended.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on the staff report? Council President Parsons.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2018 authorizing the city manager and the chief of police to sign the 2018-2021 collective bargaining agreement with Keizer Police Association with the notations as amended.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2018 authorizing the city manager and chief of police to sign 2018-2021 collective bargaining agreement with Keizer Police Association as amended. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously with one absent. It is my understanding that there's going to be a change in the agenda at this point. City Manager?
That is correct. Michelle, do you want to speak to this real quick?
Thank you, Chris. Madam Mayor and Council, I learned today that there was a scheduling issue with LIUNA, who is our Public Works collective bargaining group, and they will not be able to meet to vote for ratification until Wednesday. Therefore, we need to pull that particular CBA from the agenda at this time, and we will put it back on July 2nd.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So if you already read it, you're good.
One less thing.
That's right. Okay. That takes us then to the consent calendar. Council President Parsons, would you please read the items on the consent calendar for tonight?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. There are 9 items. The first is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a field maintenance agreement for farmland located at 1590 Chemawa Road North, Keizer, Oregon, with Scenic Valley Farms LLC. B is a resolution for the certification of delinquent sewer accounts. C, resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a street sweeping contract. 4 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Salem Keizer School District 24J, which is the school resource officers. E, resolution adopting the Housing and Community Development Action Plan, 1-year use of funds, Salem and Keizer 2018-2019 and 2014-15, 16, and 17, CDBG. I don't know what that means, so don't yell at me.
Community Development Block Grant.
Thank you. And Home Program Amendment Number 1. Almost got me, didn't he? F is a resolution
safe there.
regarding evaluation of the city manager. G, resolution regarding the evaluation of the city attorney. H, resolution authorizing the city manager to award and enter into an agreement with F Fossil Contracting and Management for construction of Keizer Rapids. Pardon?
Is that right?
That's what it says. I don't know if that's a misspelling or not.
Okay.
Is that F Fossil or Fossil? Just, that's F Fossil?
We're not sure how to pronounce it.
Fossil? Fossil. How about fossil? With fossil contracting. Yeah. And management for construction of Keizer Rapids Park Western facilities. And I is the approval of the June 4th, 2018 City Council regular session minutes.
All right. Are there any polls? And I do want to pull A just for a couple of comments. Anything else that you'd like to pull for discussion or questions? Council President Parsons.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move approval of the consent calendar items B through I.
Second.
The consent calendar, items B through I, have been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously with one absent. I pulled A, which is the resolution about the field maintenance agreement for the farm located at 1590 Shamawa Road, and only because I'd like to get a little bit more update out there in the public. This is a project that has had a lot of questions from people, and so just to get it out there, what's going to be happening, what's the timeline, and to give Mr. Lawyer a chance to let everybody in on how this is going to roll out.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The farmer, in discussions that I've had with them, their plans are to plant a fescue, grass seed, and they indicate planting season would be late August, early mid-September, weather dependent. And so until probably early August, I'm going to guess, the land will just sit there and grow whatever it wants to grow out of the dirt that's been disturbed through this activity. And then they'll come in and work the ground like they would for any other grass seed field. Probably disc it. I don't think they'll really plow it per se. Probably just disc it, smooth it out, plant it. Again, like I said, late August, early September, and then harvest it annually for the life of the agreement. So there's only one planting. Initially, there was discussion about doing I won't really a cover crop, but like a winter wheat the first year, and then grass seed. And through their own decision-making process, they chose to just plant the grass right up front, and so they just worked around the one time.
Okay. Which will be good for keeping dust down.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
'Cause,
Yes, there'll be some dust obviously when they're doing that work, and there'll be some dust created when they're harvesting. But other than that, it should be pretty mundane green grass field until it's harvested each year. So
So will there be any issues with people running through it? It's not fenced,
not fenced.
so, I mean, it's green grass, you
We're
know.
gonna,
Kids
we'll
and dogs go
encourage-
woohoo.
We'll encourage people to stay out of as much as we can, just like we did with the orchard. The orchard was maybe a little more inviting to be into because you could hide and not be seen, especially the last couple years with the lack or the way the Filbert farmer, hazelnut farmer was approaching that orchard and letting the suckers grow up and not trimming them off. There's a lot of places to hide with a big green grass open field. That's gone. So I kind of suspect we won't have a lot of activity out there because it's just a big green tall grass field. So
Well, if we might put a sign out there letting people know that this is actually under cultivation, especially people who would like to let their dogs run through it.
Sure.
Or kids. I mean, it's probably going to be closer to the big toy than farther out in there, but just let people know so they're aware that maybe that's not a really swift idea and the farmer might not take too kindly to having rows trampled, but just to communicate with people on what's happening there.
Sure.
And how to be respectful of the activity with that field.
we can do that, absolutely.
I would appreciate that. Excited about that. Also, there's been a lot of work by the Clyger Creek Watershed Council, Comcast Cares, their volunteers were out there this last weekend, Rotary, and a lot of other folks enjoying the great stretching exercise of picking up sticks. Can you speak to that a little bit? Why is that happening?
That happened over the last couple weeks, but primarily Saturday, the Comcast group, I was out there. Haven't talked with Mr. Keizer to see who organized that, to see how many people actually showed up. But in looking at the pile of sticks that was created over the weekend, and everybody's saying sticks, these are actually roots. They're part of the root structure from the trees that were removed. So sticks, whatever you want to call them. The pile that they created is pretty large. I'm really surprised that they got that many picked up, which tells me there was a number of people out there doing it. So it was successful, and we appreciate all those efforts.
It was a good turnout. I was out there for about an hour before I had to go on to something else. Bless you. I was doing that too. And the efforts have been organized on Saturday mornings. Anybody who wants to go out there and pick up sticks and toss them in a pile, of course, is welcome to do so. But with these organized efforts, they also have the sign-in and so forth. But they had a really good turnout from Comcast. They also had a good turnout from Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Oh, good.
And this is a project that they had wanted to help out with and had to cancel earlier on. So we had a number of those folks out there, and it was wonderful visiting with them as well as they got involved and helped out.
Great.
So a big thank you to all of the volunteers, and if they want to go out and pick out sticks, my dog loves it, by the way, she's obsessed with sticks. And she thinks it's the best playground ever. So anyway, thank you. Any other questions on that project? All right, Council President Parsons.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move approval of consent calendar item A.
Second.
Consent calendar item A has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously with one absent. That takes us then into council liaison reports. We'll start with Councilor Anderson, please.
Right. Thank you, Madam Mayor. My thanks also for allowing me to attend to some family-related items while y'all were engaged in meetings on the 4th when we had a couple of concerts that we had to split duties on, honestly. And so one of which was my my youngest daughter's last concert at high school. Then the joint meeting of the Planning Commission and City Council. Sorry I had to miss that one, but that was Whitaker Middle School 8th grade promotion night, so I was not missing that one. So just 3 other items I'll mention. As I mentioned, my youngest daughter did graduate from college or high school, so we're glad for that. She also had her, and this is noteworthy because it's a Keizer Business Classic Tap Dance Recital was last Saturday. And for the first time, I went to both of those recitals performances, so they're really outstanding. Really encourage people to, it is phenomenally good dancing, and it's a great Keizer Business, and that was the 19th annual recital that they held over at West Salem High School. And it's a good venue, so if you're wondering, that's why. And then the one liaison meeting that I will note is I was at the Keizer Chamber Board meeting on the 13th. We just basically got a recap on the Iris Festival that had concluded. Went really well. They do want to extend their appreciation to the city for their support and partnership and all that they do. And then upcoming on September 20th, so kind of down the road here, but the Keizer Network of Women, or KNOW, will be having their annual fundraiser to raise dollars for their Giving Basket program, and this year it will be a Kentucky Derby theme. That is all. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Council President Parsons.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mine's a little quieter than that. On the 7th, we had a personnel policy meeting. On the 13th, I attended the Planning Commission's work session. Some great information that came out of that, and will continue as we start getting the final things. On the 14th, I attended the Marion County Commissioners' breakfast, and our biggest topic was obviously the shooting and what can be done with that. I mean, that was a big conversation. The Gubser Neighborhood Association will not meet until September. And other than that, I'm kind of off till next month. Well, sort of kind of off. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It is, or was, indeed graduation season, and I went to lots of festivities surrounding that, so that was fun, and I'd like to extend a hearty congratulations to all our graduates in the area, both our private schools, our public schools, our middle schools. A lot of kids are working really hard, and that's great. I also went to the Planning Commission work session and was really impressed with both the work of Nate, our Community Development Director, and our contracting people out of Portland, and the community input. It's been a very responsive sort of process as far as how do we want to grow and how can we best manage that growth, and I think those are really important conversations, and I appreciate your work in that, so thank you. I also had an opportunity to fill in on a couple of committees in the last couple of weeks, and that has been fascinating because I've gotten to see different sides of how things work, and so that was really interesting. I attended the Traffic Safety and Bikeways Committee meeting, and really, those are a very dedicated group of people, and they're working right now. They're working on prioritizing Cummings and Kennedy sidewalk development, basically, and those are important conversations, and they are going to be working very hard to bring some recommendations to this body. So That was a very interesting conversation and appreciate their work. And also today, I went to the Keizer United meeting, and that was also very interesting to see the different groups who are involved in community service in many different ways and connecting them with resources. And a couple of things that I got out of that that I thought would be worth mentioning here is that our CERT, Community Emergency Response Team, is holding their next training in October. And that is a really great opportunity for neighbors to get involved and to be prepared for whatever emergencies might face us. And so those will be posted on Nextdoor. You can find information on that on keizercert.org. And that there will be more information coming forth on that in terms of the exact dates and so forth. But really great opportunity to get involved with the community. And the Surf Fest is coming Saturday, August 4th. Lake Point Community Church is sponsoring that, and it's going to be at Claggett Creek Middle School this year, not here at the Civic Center. So that is, and that's on a Saturday. I guess it's usually on a Sunday too. So really great opportunities for lots of people to have anything from getting clothes to getting dental appointments to getting haircuts, just all kinds of service involved with that. And that is, they've been doing that for many years, and so we look forward to that as well. I don't know if Chief Teague is going to talk to this address this or not, but Dorothy Deal talked to us about the fun run planned at Keizer Rapids Park. I'll let you just talk about that a little bit more.
I'll let you talk about that.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what little information I know, because this was a fresh off the press kind of situation, and so I was excited to see this. Dorothy Deal was our community response officer, or community involvement officer, I think is her title. Yes, community outreach, thank you. So this is going to be happening probably in mid-August. Again, this is very early in the planning stages, but this is to raise money for the Special Olympics, which is really hurting for money this year, and so our Keizer Police Department is seeking to sponsor this event, and it will be at Keizer Rapids Park, again, probably in mid-August, and they will definitely need volunteers for that, so a really excellent opportunity for that to help support both our police department and Special Olympics. So, and then this, coming up on June 26th, the Keizer Heritage Foundation is having their annual meeting, and the Keizer Heritage Foundation is established to run the building that is just across the parking lot from us here at the Keizer Heritage Center, and we are basically the cultural center in many ways of the city. And so if you are interested in becoming a part of that or are a member of that and want an update on that, our annual meeting will be the 26th, and that will start at 5:30. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Indeed. Councilor Freeman.
I don't have a lot, but I'm going to wish my grandson happy birthday today. He's a whopping 2 years old, but you know, he's probably already in bed by now, but he does watch Grandma on TV. So, and then I also attended the Keizer Growth Opportunity Workshop and appreciate the community and staff that was here for that event. The Personal Policy Committee also, and the Marion County Breakfast. Upcoming, most importantly, we have the Volunteer Coordinating Committee this week, the 21st at 6 p.m. And it looks like we have lots of people finally applying for a lot of our openings, so we will have an action-packed meeting as well. And then on June 23rd, which is a Saturday at 9 a.m. at Cummings Elementary School, which is on the corner of Cummings Lane and Delight, the West Keizer Neighborhood Association is organizing a cleanup event for the school. And so anyone's welcome to attend, and they're partnering with the Parent-Teacher Club. So they're asking you to bring gloves, garden tools, rakes, shovels, and especially wheelbarrows, and they will provide drinks and donuts, and they will be done by noon. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Carol Dorfler or Rhonda Rich, because they'll be coordinating, but just come and show up, and usually they make the corner look really nice, and they've already planted some flowers, thanks to Egan's, around the reader board, and I know they've had some pots around by the front door and stuff. So it's just, again, it's part of our West Keizer neighborhood outreach, and since we aren't cleaning up Shamawa, this Adopt a Street, we've now adopted Cummings School. So look forward to seeing everyone there on the 23rd. That's all I have.
Sounds good. Counselor Ryan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I too am short and sweet tonight. I also attended the planning session. It was great to hear the information and see all the work that Nate's done. I really appreciate that. I also am looking forward to my next Art Commission's meeting because we've scaled back our schedule, and so I'm really looking forward to getting some information on that to report. And I also attended the Air Service meeting to bring service to Salem Keizer, and that was great information. A lot of statistics I was unfamiliar with, so perfect. I see you have a report there, so I won't say anything else. I will say I was excited to recruit a new volunteer for the city and for the library. A new customer moved into the area from North Dakota, and I wrangled her into volunteering before I could, get her last name. And other than that, I just, congratulations, Beavers. We had a huge win tonight, so pretty excited about that. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Sign this and pass it on. There we go. Just a couple things to add. On the 5th, we met for the Council of Governments Budget and Executive Board. I'm chair of that board this year. So that's been really interesting working with our Mid-Willamette Council of Governments, of which we are a member, and enjoy many of the services that are provided for us, Marion, Polk County, Yamhill County cities and the counties. On the 7th, the Mid-Willamette Area Commission on Transportation met, and we had a presentation on it was the transportation planning and rule and update on, I didn't bring the agenda with me, on the construction projects for this year. Always love seeing that, so make sure you check out their website before you travel so you know what road closures are ahead. We have 2 seasons, rain and construction, and guess which season it is now. Personnel policies. The Salem Air Service, I want to follow up on what Councilor Ryan was talking about. This was a presentation at the Salem City Club, and it's a collaboration of SEDCOR, the Strategic Economic Development Corporation, Travel Salem, and business leaders on doing a study on what it would take to bring back sustainable commercial air service to Salem. It's been over 10 years since we've had regularly scheduled commercial air service, and I will specify passenger because we do have commercial as in like FedEx and other freight going in and out of the airport every day. I know my office is right on the airport, and I hear those planes. So it was well done in that they're looking at data to indicate what it would cost, what the price points are, and more importantly, where do people want to go? So putting together that model rather than saying, hey, give us a subsidy and we'll figure it out later. So stay tuned for that. If you want to see that information, I would go to probably the SEDCOR website or Google that, and you can see the presentation or some of the PowerPoint and the study that was done. It was very interesting. And I wish them all the best on that because I hate getting stuck on I-205. Just saying. Couple other things. I did sit in for Councilor Herrera on Parks, wishing Councilor Herrera well in his recovery. The big topics were about the UAS with the unmanned aviation systems, or commonly known as drones, about what policies look like there, and it was a very robust discussion on what we can and can't do and shouldn't do, and ways to ensure privacy, safety, and responsibility. So watch for some of that coming. No, not a big discussion on the other parks. That was regulations. It was mostly on the development of that particular rule. And it's like a lot of other things. That is one where the federal regulations are changing. So we need to, on those, because the industry is changing constantly. That's written communications. On the 13th, before we had that very informative meeting with the Planning Commission, I threw out the first ball to open the Volcanoes 21st season at their park here, College All-Stars game, which they won. And so check out Volcanoes Baseball at their website or their Facebook page, and make it a point to go out there and enjoy family time out at the ballpark. They're a great community partner. The young men who are members of the team live in our community with families. A number of folks here have hosted. I know Councilor Ryan has had some of the players stay with her. We are hosting one of the players this year in our home. And it's a great way for those young men to learn about Keizer and Salem and also their introduction to Major League Baseball. What?
I'm throwing out the,
You
go ahead.
are.
I'll just intervene. On July 4th, the Volcanoes will have their big game. This year, they're celebrating women veterans,
Yeah.
and I will be throwing out the first pitch, along with a World War II woman veteran. So everybody, if you want to come watch me throw out left-handed the first pitch.
I was wondering how you're going to do that.
Left-handed.
Left-handed, all right. That is awesome, and I want to thank you for your service. I'm proud that the Volcanoes have been a long-term partner in supporting our veterans and honoring and saluting veterans and their families. And this is not something they just do on a weekend and say, hey, we did our thing. No, they are partners year-round, and Jerry Howard in particular, but the Volcanoes organization in general has been very, very supportive and actively supportive of military and veterans and their families. So thank you to the Volcanoes organization. A couple other things was coming up. We have the Council of Governments Board this coming Tuesday. I'll be attending the Women in Construction Dinner on Wednesday. And then the Mid-Willamette Homeless Initiative Steering Committee will meet on Thursday, and we'll get an update on the work of Allie Treichel, who was our program coordinator, and ongoing good work that many organizations are coming together to serve people in our community who are homeless or housing insecure. Very excited about the work that is progressing there. And that is all I have, because I'm going to switch then into Wedding Brain, and I will resurface after the first. So with that, I will then go to committee, thank you. Other business. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I'm going to start off, every year as we approach the opening of the legislature, the League of Oregon Cities provides an opportunity for all of its membership to guide them on what areas of legislation to focus on each year. And so what they have done is they have asked each city to mark on a series of, 20 or so different priorities, legislative priorities, our top 4, not in any particular order, just 4 X's. So what we've done in the past is I've created a packet that has a description of each of their legislative areas that they're going to be focusing on. And they will focus on all of these as time permits. What they're really asking for is, what do the city membership really want them to sort of coalesce their, if they have an opportunity to go after. Although as opportunities present themselves, they'll approach all of these 20 some odd different topics. I've given you some suggestions of what I think are important to cities, just to give you a place to start your processing. Otherwise, what we've done in the past is I have asked for you to read through the packet, and there's a good description of each one of those. Mark 4, turn all your sheets into me, and then I will coalesce those into the top 4 vote getters and give those back to the league prior to the first part of August.
So we have if I could piggyback on that a little bit, I do have the privilege of serving on the League of Oregon Cities Board at this time. The work that goes into developing this list is the work of different committees that focus on a set of issues, and then their recommendations then go into this final list that come to all the cities in Oregon for consideration. Also, any of you who would like to be on one of these policy development committees, strongly encourage you to do so. Applications will go out again in August, and at our annual conference in September, they will be making recommendations in that for those committees. Councilor Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just as I've done previously, I will not be filling out this sheet just due to a potential conflict of interest, and leave it at that. Thank you.
Understood.
I'll mention that cities aren't the only group that take a look at these priorities. So the Oregon City Managers Association have developed our own set of priorities that we'll be working on, mostly revolving around preemption and those kinds of topics. So whenever the state tries to preempt cities, we get annoyed by that because it's not what they're supposed to be doing. I know the Oregon Chiefs also have a legislative priority set of priorities, and so they will approach those as well. Oregon counties also have a set of goals that they try to go after. So there are a number of different groups that are working on the behalf of our citizens in different capacities. So this is just one of those opportunities.
In addition, once the prioritization is done during City Hall Week, we will have an opportunity to discuss the top priorities with legislators and if also legislative candidates. We've done that in the past. They're going to redo the format this year, so I think it's going to be more effective for communication. And yeah, we're definitely going to be doing that better. And I appreciate you bringing up the Association of Oregon Counties. Under the new leadership at the League of Oregon Cities, there's a lot better collaboration now with the Association of Oregon Counties and a lot better communication so that we can be working on issues more effectively in the legislature to ensure that the interests of the local governments that are most directly serving the people of Oregon are addressed and well thought out. So again, I would encourage any questions on these, please make sure that you contact League of Oregon Cities or one of us on the board. And then make sure you mark your calendar for the League of Oregon Cities conference at the end of September. It's going to be in Eugene, and it's going to have some new formats this year with some really good workshops that are under development. So please mark your calendars for that. That is one of the conferences that the city pays for all of us to attend.
And with that, Tracy, do you have anything? Tim? Michelle? Nothing. Chief?
No, sir.
Mr. Lawyer?
Thank you, Chris. Couple project updates. The Meadows play structure replacement's progressing nicely. I was up there Friday. The playground is basically constructed. The swings are not hung, of course, but the playground itself is pretty much done. They were working on prepping the ground for the surfacing, and one of the lead people up there indicated to me that they thought they'd be done by the end of the month. I think she meant July. I don't think she meant June. I don't know how they would get done as what they have left to do that fast. Not to mention they have a contractual obligation to only spend so much money in this fiscal year and finish it next fiscal year. So based on what she said, I would expect we'll see that finished late July. The Dearborn Bridge Replacement Project is progressing nicely. Contractor's a little ahead of schedule. They got the piling driven on the east side of the bridge last week, and they've had to mobilize in a different crane to do the west side. That's going to be in next Monday. In the meantime, they're doing things that they can do, start the forming on the abutment on the east side of the creek, pouring some sidewalks already where they can, doing some pavement repair and getting things ready. So it's progressing very nicely. That's all I got.
Ms. Brown?
I appreciate the kind words about our joint meeting. I did want, though, to express appreciation to all of you as volunteers, the community members that showed up, the Planning Commission members. All of you are people that are committed to this community, and I know it's tough. It's just one more meeting in your busy schedule. We will have lots more meetings. Sorry. But obviously there are some big issues, and as we heard in the meeting, there are a lot of different kinds of points of view and different kinds of issues to accommodate and try to address. So I just wanted to express my appreciation to you. The consultant was very impressed with the turnout that we had. It shows you that we are a community of people that are involved and engaged, and so hats off to you all that participated. And the only other thing I wanted to share with you is I attended the Marion County Economic Development Advisory Board meeting this last week, and they're kind of entering into a new phase in that the debt on the Oregon Garden is about to be completed, and so there are going to be additional resources. We heard from Commissioner Cameron that they're kind of looking at reformatting that process. They haven't made decisions yet, so we are waiting to see what the commission decides to do with that kind of advisory function. And so stay tuned.
Wow.
Mr. City Attorney?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I do have one question for Mr. Lawyer. Is there an update on the water situation and how, and our interaction with Salem on their water?
Yeah, not much of an update. Salem chose to relocate the distribution site from the skate park parking lot over to somewhere else in Salem, I'm not sure where, to kind of consolidate staffing and ease the trucking of water and different things. We're still providing water to trucks at a hydrant on Bailey. I talked to them about that today. They still feel that need is there to maintain that. I don't know how many trucks a day are coming there, but there's enough that they want to keep that active. My understanding at this point, it'll be at least through this week. I have not had a lot of direct communication with Salem staff on this. I've just been going along as necessary to make sure the water keeps flowing. So.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you and your staff, the volunteers who have been out there to be there at the water filling stations, and again, the many generous businesses and individuals in our community who made a point of sharing the water with their neighbors to make sure that they were okay. Councilor Anderson?
I'm sorry for the jumping in here, but yeah, I would second that. But also, I just have got to say that this underscores such an important element of society for us all here. This is a critical piece of infrastructure, and I interact with a lot of business folks in Salem, and yeah, it's a great pride point for us, of course, to have a great system, but to me, it also underscores the importance of having a good, reliable source of something that we absolutely need every single day. So, thank you.
Thank you. Does speak to a very well-maintained system in the Water Master Plan that has been staying on top of keeping up our infrastructure as well. So much appreciation on that score, too. So speaking of water, can you talk about the splash fountain?
Splash fountain's open for use Wednesdays through Sundays from, we say 1, realistically it's probably ready at noon, barring any unforeseen maintenance issues. When the temperature is forecast to be 75 degrees or above, it'll be open every day Wednesday through Sunday.
Wonderful.
From now until Labor Day.
So share with friends and families, a fun place to come and play and also to have a picnic. So, all right. Thank you very much. Okay, where did I put my schedule again? There it is. I lose myself. All right, written communications, I've got 2 things. I have an email from Betty Hart to all of us. Madam Mayor, thank you so much for adjusting your council meeting schedule so that the members of the City Council could attend the Keizer Fire District's reception honoring 70 years of service. We sincerely appreciate your support. In working on this project, I have come to appreciate the contributions of the volunteers over so many years. They exemplify the characteristics of Keizer's motto, pride, spirit, and volunteerism. Please pass along our thanks to all the members of the City Council. On behalf of the Keizer Fire District's Committee for 70 Years of Service, Betty Hart. So I want to share that with you. I also received in my box, and I didn't have a note with it to know where it came from, a book called Dream Teams Working Together Without Falling Apart by Shane Snow. So whoever sent this to share with us, thank you very much. Oh, there it is. I just had a flip. So I hope the ideas here can help push your team and Team America forward. Yours, WB, and I can't associate that with a author's name. So anyway, thank you, WB, for this book, which we all will have a chance to enjoy. That is it for written communications. Agenda input, July 2nd, 2018 at 7 p.m. We will meet in regular session. On July 9th at 5:45, we have a work session scheduled. We don't have a topic at this point. And unless you want to talk about the LOC, League of Oregon Cities legislative agenda, that would be one possible topic. So think about it. We don't have to make that decision right now, especially if you want to get a speaker in from the League of Oregon Cities since they are locally, their offices are local. And then July 16th, 2018, we will meet in regular session at 7 p.m. Is there anything else for the good of the order? All right, seeing none, it is 8:20 and we are adjourned.